It's a beautiful fall morning here on the property, and today's going to be a really good day because our roofing material is about to get dropped off. We're working with McElroy Metal. They're coming out of Winchester, Virginia, although they're headquartered in Louisiana. They supply a ton of steel for buildings all around the country, and we are really happy to be working with them. Their customer service has been phenomenal. I worked with the roofer that we're going to be hiring to do the takeoff, but I finalized all the material details on the quote myself. And so working with an amateur, they were really awesome and very patient with me.
Thanks to McElroy for sponsoring this video, and we can't wait to share all the details with you guys.
Think I hear it. That looks like a roofing truck. Now this is cool. They even mark what end of the sheets have a rust inhibitor on it, because with metal roofs, the edge of these panels act as the drip edge, so there's constantly going to be water dripping off the edge of that. That's pretty cool. I'm just really impressed at how well packaged this is. I mean, they thought of everything. Everything is so well labeled, neat, organized. Really awesome. That's definitely not something you see with every building supply company, that's for darn sure. In contrast, these 1x4 roof purlins came from Home Depot. This is how the tarp looked when I got it. Forklift driver nearly destroyed about 3 or 4 of these boards trying to get it off. It was the most, we'll say, interesting forklift driving I've ever seen. Here's a sneak peek. Awesome.
The panel we chose from McElroy Metal is the MaxRib Ultra in matte black. The factory finish on these is just beautiful.
There's no way I could go without. All right, good morning. Today is the day we are getting a roof. Nathaniel and his crew are here, and they're hopefully going to get this done in 2 or 3 days. We're going to see. Tomorrow, the guys from McElroy are going to stop by, Ken and Sean, to check out the project. They're going to be up this way, so we said, why not check out what's going on? The guys are getting everything rolling on the lab. It's my job to get these pipes up through the roof, our radon and our main plumbing stack. That way we can flash right around them. All right, so yesterday I came up here and pre-marked this. This is my radon pipe that comes all the way through the roof, straight from the bottom of the slab. My main plumbing stack's gonna come out over here. Okay, nix the Sawzall jigsaw. Should have started with the hole saw bit. I'm using these new Spider hole saw bits, courtesy of my sister-in-law. Thank you very much, Cecilia. This thing's a beast. It even gave me a nice perfect circle of roof underlayment.
One nice thing about ordering through McElroy is they can supply the full roofing package. That includes all the trims, fasteners, and accessories needed to complete the roof. The trims come with a protective plastic coating over all the painted surfaces, which I found is really handy, especially if you need to make marks for measurements or do any extra bending or cutting on the trim before you're ready to install it. We also got the rollout vent strip as part of the package. This is a netted strip that'll go under our ridge cap, and it's profiled to the outside of the panel. We also use this to vent under the eave edges, which we'll show you in a little bit. The underlayment we used on this roof was GAF StormGuard. That's a fully adhered peel and stick membrane. It was a little bit more expensive using the ice and water shield over the whole roof. Probably about $1,200 versus maybe $700 if I would have used synthetic felt. But the peel and stick is much more resistant to leaking should any water get under the metal. And in fact, it served as our temp roof for a few weeks. We decided to use 1x4 furring strips at 2 foot on center, nailed into the rafters. That is what the panels will screw into. These guys definitely had done a roof or two before. They were pretty much fearless climbing up the 10-12 pitch. We really like how the matte black panel is kind of a muted black. It's not a super glossy dark black. I feel like the gloss texture makes imperfections much more obvious and does not resist chalking or fading as much as this will.
Exciting stuff. They are putting up some of the sheets on the back side. I'll have to get some drone footage of that because I can't get it with the camera, but they're still putting on the purlins in the front, and then they'll get started installing the metal there. They're installing the end wall and side wall flashing right now.
For the end wall trims under the windows, Nathaniel carefully removed each screw in the window flange and tucked the trim up under the flange to make sure water sheds in the proper way. The sidewall trims were taped to the zip sheathing. Don't forget to roll the tape. This young man on the ground was definitely the unsung hero of the team. He fed all the metal roof panels up pretty much solo. These are 20-foot long panels on the back side and 26-foot long on the front.
Last minute special. Show us your moves. Dude.
Once the purlins were on, the guys were able to start moving quickly on the back roof. There was only 2 penetrations, just the 2 vent pipes. All the panels came pre-cut to length, so it was really easy just to put them up there and screw them in. The Kynar 500 paint on these panels is based on a Sherwin-Williams formula and is pretty much the best paint you can get as of now on metal roof systems. The panels all came pre-cut to the proper length to make the guys' job on site easier. Let's talk about the fasteners we use for the roof. We're using paint match zinc alloy cap screws. These are considered a long life fastener because the metal cap actually extends over and protects the washer. Here it is compared to a traditional roofing screw. The washer can become exposed when it's tightened down, and that is eventually what degrades due to the UV light.
Guys are using cordless drills with clutches so we don't overdrive the screws. Of course it fell right on a rib.
Yep. These roof boots they're pretty hard to mess up. Like,
yeah,
they're pretty amazing compared to what used to be.
On this last skinny piece of roof panel, the guys bent the edge up before putting the rake wall trim on. This prevents any wind-driven rain from getting to the side edge of the roof and dripping down the fascia board.
the guys have been here since just about 7:30 this morning and have gotten quite a lot done. The whole back of the roof's actually already on. Purlins are going in on the front.
The guys started by installing the trim around the windows, the sides, and the bottom, and then the sheets of metal will go underneath that.
There's also some pieces of foam that are profiled to the panel edge. They're called closure strips. Those will go up underneath the trim to seal that air gap there.
We use closure strips at the trims above and below the dormers, but at the eave ends of the main roof, I wanted to allow air into the rib ends of the panels, just so it wasn't a totally sealed off space in between the purlins. My initial idea for this was to use the rollout vent strip, which we did do on the back side of the roof, but the vent strip was a little bit stiff, so when the edge of the roof panel compressed it down, you could sort of see it at the edges. On the back side it'll be invisible, but here on the front side it is very visible, so I didn't want to take the same risk there. What I ended up coming up with was cutting the profile strip into just little chunks, just about the right size to fit into the rib edges, and just shoving them in there. That'll work fine for letting air up through the rib as needed, but keep any bugs from crawling up in there. Sometimes the simplest solution is the best one.
That's a tricky piece right there. Had to go up and around that fascia board. That's tricky.
Now can I go up?
Now you can go up.
What's that? Was it 73 and a half?
These battery-powered single-cut shears seem like a non-negotiable if you're doing a lot of metal work.
All right, guys, just rolled out. It is 4:12 in the afternoon, and what a difference just about 8 hours makes. There's literally just one little sliver of roof that they didn't get on, and some trim work they got to do. The ridge cap still got to go on, all the snow guards. So maybe a half day's work for a couple more guys. They're going to come back tomorrow a little bit later. We're also getting a visit tomorrow from Ken and Sean from McElroy Metal. Ken is the VP of Marketing. Sean is our regional salesperson, and he helped a lot with the ordering of all this stuff, and they really helped us out with the project.
Here the guys are getting ready for the ridge cap and are rolling out that profile vent I talked about earlier. The idea behind the profile vent is that it lets hot air up and out of your attic through the ridge vent, but it prevents wind-driven rain from getting forced up underneath your ridge cap and dripping down into the attic. The netted strip creates just enough resistance to the water to prevent that. The foam closures, on the other hand, are a solid foam strip with adhesive on either side. You can see Nathaniel putting them in here. The final component of the roof after all the trims were on were snow guards to keep snow from sliding off at crazy speeds. The guards we used are Levi Building Components Snow Defender 4500 models. They fasten to the roof with 2 screws, and the guards have their own gasket. On the back side of the house where our deck and mechanical components will be, we use the snow guards at 9 inches on center, basically in between every panel flat. But on the front roof, we liked the 18-inch on center look a little bit more. We bought some extra to do the dormers if we need to eventually, but we're gonna see how it works this winter. And here's some shots of the finished product.
All right, we are here with Ken and Sean from McElroy Metal. Ken is the VP of Marketing, Sean, Regional Sales Manager. They came from basically halfway across the country today. Ken from Louisiana at the corporate offices, and Sean from Winchester, Virginia, where all of our metal roof was manufactured. They swung up today to check the project out while they were in the area for some other business, and so we invited them up, give them the grand tour, and it just so happens that our roofing crew is just finishing up, so the final product is ready to show off.
Yep. So we're happy to have them here, and we figured we'd talk a little bit through our choice for the MaxRib panel and share a little bit more of the details about the paint system and the different options that McElroy has available.
So these guys have been super helpful in the process of getting this metal roof on. The ordering process was a trial in and of itself. Sean here helped me out a ton. He's basically on the phone with me daily, someone who's never put a roof on or done a metal roof takeoff ever, but I was between Nathaniel, who did our actual roofing installation, and Sean to get the takeoff locked down and get all the materials we needed on site when we needed them.
You guys are a lot more educated than you're planning on here, because when I talked to Elena the first time, what, 2 months ago, she kind of knew what she wanted already, the paint system, the products. So, and you talking to Sean, I know he's mentioned you knew a lot about roofing already. So you guys did a lot of research. You can tell that you're very studious in this process.
For a non-roofer, I'll take it. I mean, we're both engineers, so we really fixate on the details probably more than we should. Sean definitely knows that. But you know, it's both a blessing and a curse, I would say, in a project like this. I mean, sometimes construction is always very imperfect, and you gotta make sure that you can kind of balance that.
Yeah.
But having that technical background you both have as engineers is helpful, though, for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And one thing is, for your website specifically, it has so much information on it that it really helped us with picking our top 3 choices and then going from there and asking you some clarifying questions and then choosing based on some of those answers and the cost as well.
Right. We were basically between 3 styles of panels. The 138T standing seam panel that is really top of the line, premium grade from McElroy. The Meridian panel, which is a snap block standing seam, a little bit easier on the installation. And then the MaxRib panel, like you see, that's installed behind us. We ended up going with the MaxRib for a few different reasons. One of the main ones really is cost, not only in material cost, but also installation labor. Panels like the MaxRib or through fastened roof systems install quite a bit quicker than the standing seam counterpart. We also have a rafter frame roof deck, which, due to the inherent nature of dimensional lumber, it's always going to have some variations in crown, and I really didn't want that sort of wavy substrate showing through on a panel like the standing seams, which typically sit flat on the roof deck. Installation can help hide that a little bit, but in general, a panel like the MaxRib kind of helps hide that variation, and I didn't want to risk that with the roof you see behind us. The last main selling point of the MaxRib and why we ended up choosing it is installation labor, and finding guys local to us that can put this on. Through fastened roof systems are really popular around here, and that's what the local installers are used to. Standing seam requires quite a bit more care, attention to detail, and thus time and thus money. And that's looping back into the first point, kind of why we ended up going with the MaxRib. But we are really happy with it. We drive by houses with MaxRib every day on the way to work. That's really what influenced the decision to do what we did, and we really liked how it all turned out.
Yeah.
All your points are spot on. It was exactly right. Metal roofing is a good, better, best. And the MaxRib is our most popular roofing panel. It's the most popular style across the country, actually, too, from our competitors as well. For the things that you mentioned, it looks great. You also picked a high-quality paint system on it, which is a Kynar 500 or PVDF system, and that's a system that's known for fade and chalk resistance. So, like the metal panels have a good, better, best, so do paint systems, and that's the best paint system, and that's really key for residential owners like yourself. You're going to have this house for decades, right? This is a home you're going to live in for a long time, and you want that matte black roof to still be black rather than gray down the road, and that's what a high-end paint system does, so compliments for doing that.
I agree. That's really important when you're going with a black roof. You want to make sure that it stays black, and especially for us, because this is only the first phase of our project. So with that house next door, we want to make sure that this is the same color black that that eventual roof is. So that's important to us when we were choosing our paint finish.
That's a great point. We have examples on our website too. You may have seen them, where we show a house or a building that had an addition put on that was a PVDF Kynar 500 system, and you can't see the difference. And then we have others that a lower quality paint system was put on, and you can see that. So Sean had one of those jobs in Indiana, actually.
That's right. Yep, that's right.
Wow, that's
where it was an addition like years down the road.
It was done after, it was done 10, 12 years later. It was a dark green evergreen roof.
Wow.
It's amazing. After that long, you can't see the difference, and that's a big deal. You can drive across the country and see a lot of additions to buildings where they've not used they've used an SP system and replaced it, 10 years later with it, or added on to it, and there's a major difference in the color, the degradation of the paint system. So
I'm glad we went with what we did then, because we will eventually be adding to this, and it would be good that the roofs are the same color. So.
Or else we'll be calling you.
It's interesting too that matte black is our most popular color right now. And for the last couple of years, it used to be pretty far down the list. It was whites and the tans were the most popular, and all of a sudden black shot up for the reasons you mentioned. It's popular across the country right now.
Yep.
People actually got white roofs?
Yeah,
Really?
sure do.
I'm surprised they would want a white roof. I don't know. Great for energy efficiency, I suppose. Constantly reflecting the sunlight. Like on a residence, on a house?
Which is interesting too, the changes in the paint systems too. Even though this is matte black, it has a lower reflectance. So your energy efficiency is not as high as a white roof, but it still has reflective pigments in it. It's called cool roof technology. So even your matte black roof is still pretty highly reflective to take the sun's energy and move it away rather than going through the roof into the living quarters below.
Right, right.
So metal roofs are known, even black, are known for being more energy efficient.
Right.
That's gonna be like a shingle.
Yes.
That's really interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, and shingle just has the thermal mass too. It holds it heats up and holds the heat, like asphalt really does. One thing that we ended up making the decision on after some back and forth was going between the metal roof on the flat deck or having 3/4 inch or 1x4 purlins, and we ended up with the purlins for really above sheathing ventilation to help with any sort of condensation, drying, and also temperature, so allowing an air layer between our roof and our roof deck. We actually have below sheathing ventilation too. We'll have a space there, so having that sheathing be able to dry was really important to us, and making sure there's no future mold problems, and also creating a thermal barrier to make our insulation do its job a little bit better.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you guys so much for coming out and visiting. It's been a lot of fun. It's fun to show you guys our project in person after telling you guys so much about it. So we really enjoyed your visit and appreciate your time.
Looks great. Congratulations
Thanks,
on the
guys.
project. Yeah.
Thanks.
thank you.
We hope you enjoyed this video and we appreciate you watching. Make sure to subscribe and hit the bell so you know every time we post a video in the future. Still a lot more to come, so stay tuned.